What if King Robert Baratheon learned the truth? What if he discovered that Cersei and Jaime were lovers and that all three of his royal children, Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen, weren't his at all? This single revelation will completely rewrite the history of Westeros. The War of the Five Kings, the Lannister dynasty, the fall of House Stark, none of it would play out the same way. And today we are diving deep into the massive Westeros what if. What happens if King Robert finds out about the incest while he's still alive? This is the Loreverse. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, and let's dive into this. So there are key three moments where Robert could realistically learn the truth. Number one, before leaving for the hunt. Number two, before Ned's investigation. Or three, years earlier, long before the story starts. And each one creates a wildly different chain reaction. For this Loreverse scenario, we'll explore the most dramatic and likely point, where Robert discovers the incest during Ned's investigation in King's Landing a few weeks before the boar hunt that in canon ends his life. Because if Robert lives, everything changes. Let's be clear, Robert Baratheon is not a subtle man. He reacts with raw emotion, not planning. Learning that Cersei's children aren't his, this isn't just betrayal, this is humiliation. The one thing Robert truly can't stand. And this hits all of his deepest wounds. The first thing is that his marriage is a complete lie. His years of drinking, whoring, fighting, all for a dynasty that wasn't even his. Lyanna's loss replaced with a woman who just deceived him, and his throne stolen in a sense because he never had a legitimate heir. And Robert wouldn't brood, he wouldn't debate, he would not wait, he would rage immediately. And because he's king, his rage carries the power of the Iron Throne. Now, the moment he knows, like he truly knows, Robert orders the immediate arrest of Cersei. No long speech, no courtesy, no politics, just guards seize the queen. And the only thing that could delay this is Ned Stark. Ned will push for honor. He will push for legitimacy, evidence, and for the safety of the children. But Robert only needs to know that the children aren't his. This is a man who wanted to assassinate Daenerys for simply existing. And he would absolutely execute Cersei for treason. But now there's a new problem. The Lannisters will retaliate instantly. Because the moment Jaime hears Cersei is arrested, he has only one setting. Kill first, ask later. So Jaime would gather the King's Guard loyal to him. He would attempt a rescue, possibly kill Robert if given the opportunity, and he would strike at Ned Stark again if he believes Ned is involved. And because Jaime's love for Cersei overrides everything, honor, laws, and even the throne. And a violent confrontation in the Red Keep is definitely guaranteed. But here's the twist. Robert isn't easy prey. He's big, he's strong, and he's armed, and he hates Jaime. And we could easily get a Robert versus Jaime showdown right in the throne room. Now, Tywin Lannister's response really depends on how quickly news spreads. But one thing is certain, he would unleash absolute war. Because Robert arresting Cersei means the Lannister gold is cut off, the crown is vulnerable, Jaime is in danger, and that his family is humiliated. And so the way that Tywin would retaliate is he would mobilize Lannister armies immediately. He would block all gold shipments to King's Landing. And he would declare that Robert's accusations are lies. He would claim Robert is mentally unfit or corrupted by his advisors. And Tywin would even support Joffrey as a rival king, arguing Robert is abusing his power. And this becomes a full-scale civil war before any Stark ever marches south. Now, this part is heartbreaking and brutal. But the reality is Robert wants those kids dead. Not out of cruelty, but out of paranoia. He believes any rival claimant must be eliminated. But Ned Stark would intervene because Ned would beg Robert to spare them, offer to take them north, and argue that they are innocent of the sins of their parents. And Robert, at the very least, might reluctantly agree to exile them to the Wall, the North, or send them to Essos. But the Lannisters, they would never allow this because a new possibility then emerges. Ned secretly smuggles Myrcella and Tommen away as peace offerings to avoid slaughter. But Joffrey's too dangerous and too volatile, and he's too aware of what power means. So Joffrey either dies in the chaos, or he's taken hostage by the Starks, or he's used by Tywin as a political figurehead. And any way it goes, the Baratheon-Lannister alliance is shattered forever. Both of the master manipulators in King's Landing would seize chaos, and I'm talking about Littlefinger and Varys. Now Varys, right? Varys would want stability. He would want something close to the Targaryen restoration, and he would use the chaos to strengthen his secret plan for Aegon or Daenerys. Now, if Robert dies, Varys immediately pivots to supporting Stannis, the rightful heir. You know what I mean? Now, Littlefinger He loves this. He thrives on chaos because chaos creates opportunity. So he would feed the rumors, he would fan tensions, he would encourage civil war, and he would try to position himself as the savior of the realm. And in this scenario, Littlefinger doesn't have to push Ned. The realm collapses naturally because Robert's crashing out. Now, what does happen to Robert, though? Right? Robert's fate depends on one key thing. Does he survive Jaimie's retaliation? Because if Robert survives, he becomes a transformed king now. He's harder, bitter, and paranoid, and he's determined to purge the Lannisters. And I can see him openly naming Stannis as his heir. I can see him stripping the Lannisters of their power, and he likely executes Cersei publicly. And the Baratheon and Lannister houses would then go to war. Now, if Robert dies during this confrontation, the real chaos begins. Ned supports Stannis. Tywin pushes Joffrey. Renly tries to claim the throne, and the Starks get pulled into a war that they did not start. So essentially, Robert's early death triggers an even bloodier version of the War of the Five Kings. Now, let's think about the long-term outcome here, right? In every version of this what-if theory, right, the Lannisters and Baratheons become mortal enemies, and Ned Stark is forced into a war he tried to avoid. Tywin unleashes destruction on the Crown Lands. Stannis rises earlier, stronger, and with more legitimacy. Daenerys still builds her power in Essos, and the North is dragged into a civil war. And the political landscape is so fractured that White Walker resistance becomes far harder when the long night comes. And the irony is, Ned Stark wanted to save the realm by exposing the truth. But if Robert finds out early, the realm might burn even faster. So, what do you guys think? If King Robert learned the truth in time, would Westeros crumble faster? Or would the Lannister power collapse before it ever began? Drop your theories below. And if you want more, what if Loreverse breakdowns, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and hit that bell. It's your boy Stevie Hayes. Stay crispy and peace out.